There was a time I mistook motion for progress. Before I knew I was leaving, I started packing things I couldn't name. After the review, after the fatigue, after I'd said nothing for so long I forgot the sound of my own clarity, I started writing. Not reports, not responses, just questions. What if I'm not the problem? What if the goal was never to survive this system? What if peace is worth more than performance? What if resilience was just corporate rebranding for a slow erosion I couldn't name, not yet, but would recognize the moment someone else did? No one asked me to do this. There was no form to submit. No KPI for emotional honesty, just a pen. And the creeping realization that I had options, which is not the same as support, but it's something. I'd actually started seeing a therapist months earlier, about 7 months ago to be exact. Not because anyone said something was wrong, but because no one said anything at all. I didn't know what was coming, but something in me must have. My job wasn't being questioned. It was just being done for me. Silently, repeatedly, like a ghostwriter, but for meeting notes. Despite every calm, professional request I made to be allowed to do the job I was hired for, I was looped in only when she needed something, then forgotten when she didn't. That's when I realized I wasn't in a collaboration, I was in a correction loop. I had a hunch. My therapist gave it a name, learned helplessness, which, if you're unfamiliar, is when you've been overruled so many times you stop trying to do the thing you were hired to do. Not because you gave up, but because someone else decided you were too much trouble to include. And suddenly, click. That's what it was. The exhaustion, the second guessing, the being a team player while slowly disappearing. It wasn't resilience, it was survival. Corporate rebranding, dressed up in motivational posters, framed like a compliment. Which was interesting because I was still working full-time, over-functioning in group chats, and managing to cry only between meetings. So, clearly thriving. But something about the way she said it, like naming it, made it optional. That's when I started to wonder, what else could I unlearn? I started a new list. I called them the possibilities. Questions that didn't fix anything, but also didn't gaslight me. Questions that didn't try to win, just tried to see. Because I was no longer interested in optics, or resilience, or sounding upbeat at 9 a.m. for people who hadn't noticed I'd gone silent. I wasn't trying to return to who I'd been. I was trying to remember who I was before I confused people-pleasing with presence. What happens when the only metric you measure is peace?